time for you guys to check her out. This is her shot at the semifinals. Here's Courtney Hadwin.
When Courtney Hadwin took the America's Got Talent stage in 2017, no one in the audience or even the judges knew what to expect from the then 13-year-old. But the moment she opened her mouth to sing, the crowd went wild. The judges were just as stunned, and Simon Cowell, who always seemed to have the perfect words ready, was left completely speechless. He loved every bit of her performance, and words could hardly describe just how much he did. But now, nearly 8 years since that first unforgettable audition, Hadwin's story has taken a turn no one could have predicted. A turn so emotional it brought Simon Cowell himself to tears. So what happened to Hadwin, and why did it bring Cowell to tears? Let's dive into all the heartbreaking details. A little girl with big dreams. From the outside, Courtney Hadwin's rise might look like a straight shot to stardom, but the truth is far from it. To really understand how this teenager went from Hesleden to the world stage, we need to start at the beginning. Catherine Courtney Hadwin was born on July 6, 2004, in the quiet town of Hesleden, County Durham. She grew up alongside her younger brother Paul and sister Melissa, 3 and 4 years her junior. Her parents, Paul and Anne-Marie Hadwin, née Story, shaped a home where music was always part of the air she breathed. Courtney's education took her through Hesleden Primary School, and until autumn 2018, she attended the academy at Shotton Hall in Peterlee. But school was just the backdrop for what was really happening, her musical journey. From a young age, she soaked in every opportunity to train, from Shotton Hall Theatre School at TASH, Peanuts Master Classes, Kate Sir's School of Music, and Julie Miles's Vocal Ovation. By 2018, she had already made the list as a finalist on America's Got Talent. But even before that, she'd stepped onto UK screens for the first series of The Voice Kids and later returned to the AGT stage for America's Got Talent, The Champions. Her talent wasn't something that just came overnight. At just 10, she stunned the audience during a lunchtime open mic at the Academy at Shotton Hall, performing Say Something by Big World. Even then, people could tell there was something extraordinary about her voice. Courtney's grandfather, Tom Story, would later explain that Hadwin is a beast on the stage, but she is a completely different person at home. He described her as quiet, introverted, and shy. But give her a microphone, and suddenly she transforms, bursting with energy and presence that leaves audiences speechless. By age 11, Hadwin was already lighting up stages beyond school, rocking the floors at the Hartlepool Male's Best of Hartlepool Awards. Music wasn't just a passion, it was her heartbeat. She was so immersed in it that she even sang in her sleep. And if you ever wondered who influenced that raw, unstoppable energy, look no further than James Brown. Courtney is a die-hard fan, and his rhythm and his presence on stage clearly left a mark. Outside of music, she's just a normal kid with quirks and joys. She loves bouncy castles and the simple, carefree pleasures of life. But as much as she enjoyed being a regular kid, it was clear the stage was calling her name. And soon, that call grew louder. First, taste of the stage. Many people don't realize that Courtney Hadwin's rise to America's Got Talent wasn't her first brush with national television. Back in 2017, she auditioned for The Voice Kids UK, and right from the start, she left the judges speechless. Her rendition of Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits was so electrifying that Danny Jones immediately turned his chair, taking her under his wing as her mentor. But she didn't stop there. During the battle round, she went head-to-head with Ebony Green and Holly Furman, performing Dancing in the Street. And she made it to the semifinals with a spirited performance of James Brown's I Got You, I Feel Good. By the finals in July, she delivered a mind-blowing version of "And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going" from Dreamgirls. She didn't win, but the impact was undeniable. Her exposure on the show opened doors, including a chance to be the opening act for Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival, where she performed in front of a staggering 18,000 people. Courtney's journey in music had actually begun even earlier. In April 2015, she auditioned for her first singing competition at Teen Star in Newcastle, performing Bob Dylan's "Make You Feel My Love" and making it all the way to the grand final. Later that year, she captured attention with her school lunchtime performance of "Say Something" by Great Big World and Christina Aguilera, proving that even informal stages couldn't contain her talent. By April 2016, she had won Hartlepool's Performer of the Year award and was a finalist in the Beyond the Lights Award ceremony. Her stage presence only grew from there, culminating in her opening for Sister Sledge in 2017 and performing at charity events like the You Support concert in Southampton, which raised funds for children with life-limiting illnesses and disabilities. During her The Voice Kids audition, Will.i.am asked her to repeat part of her act just so he could watch her dance a little longer, a small but telling sign of her charisma. Danny Jones recalled seeing something special in her immediately, taking her on as his mentee. Courtney herself had admitted that performing in front of large audiences was terrifying at first, and she often struggled with stage fright. Yet the moment she held a microphone, that fear melted away, and she transformed into a commanding, magnetic performer. Her talent and presence didn't just capture judges, it earned her fans across the globe. By age 13, Stacey Solomon, former X Factor finalist, had publicly expressed her admiration, and Courtney cited Whitney Houston, Jessie J, and Jennifer Hudson as her biggest inspirations. Then came 2018 and America's Got Talent. Her audition for the 13th season was nothing short of breathtaking. The performance created a media frenzy, earning her praise from the judges, and a golden buzzer from Howie Mandel himself. From quiet schoolgirl to electrifying performer. When Courtney Hadwin first shuffled nervously onto the America's Got Talent stage in 2018, floral dress hanging loosely from her small frame and her eyes darting around the massive arena, she didn't look like a budding superstar. She looked like a shy teenage girl from County Durham, one who'd rather disappear into the crowd than stand in front of millions. The audience was polite, the judges curious, but no one could have guessed what was about to happen next. Then the music started. Within seconds, that timid posture cracked open, and out poured a voice that was gritty, raw, and drenched in soul. A sound that belonged to another era. Her version of Otis Redding's Hard to Handle wasn't just a performance, it was an eruption. The awkward kid in a dress transformed into a rock and roll storm, thrashing her hair, stomping across the stage like she was born to it, and channeling Janis Joplin, James Brown, Tina Turner, and every great soul singer rolled into one. The reaction was instant. The crowd screamed, the internet lost its mind, and Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, eyes bulging, whispering "bloody hell" under his breath, clearly stunned. Howie Mandel didn't just applaud, he slammed his hand on the golden buzzer, showering Courtney in gold confetti and calling her a superstar in the making. He later said she reminded him of Janis Joplin herself. Heidi Klum admitted she hadn't felt that kind of excitement about a new artist in a long time, insisting that Courtney was in a category of her own. And Tyra Banks, dazzling in a golden dress of her own, rushed to the stage to hug her, while Courtney admitted she was speechless at the response. Her audition didn't just stop at applause. Within 5 months, it racked up more than 50 million views on YouTube, eventually climbing past 200 million. For a 13-year-old who admitted she struggled with stage fright, that moment flipped her life upside down. But here's what most people don't realize. AGT wasn't Courtney's first rodeo. Back in 2017, she had already dipped her toes into the world of talent shows when she auditioned for The Voice Kids UK. For her blind audition, she belted out Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits, and Danny Jones from McFly spun his chair around to claim her as his mentee. She made it all the way to the finals, dazzling with songs like I Got You, I Feel Good, by James Brown, and I Am Telling You I'm Not Going from Dreamgirls. Though she didn't win, the show gave her her first taste of a stage that big, and opened doors, like performing as the opening act for Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival in front of 18,000 people. It's easy to assume Courtney just appeared on AGT like magic, but in truth, she'd been grinding away for years. She'd auditioned at small local competitions, won Hartlepool's Performer of the Year award in 2016, and even busked on the streets to raise money for petrol so her dad could drive her to shows. She once explained that she just felt the music, and it came out, as if the songs were alive inside her, and she had no choice but to let them rip. Still, despite her growing experience, AGT changed everything. Her quarter-final performance, James Brown's Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, showed that her audition was no fluke. By the time she hit the semifinals with Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf, Mandel was grinning ear to ear, saying she was born to be wild and that her energy was amazing. Her final performance of Tina Turner's River Deep, Mountain High solidified her as one of the most talked-about contestants of the season. Even though she finished in 6th place, Courtney didn't walk away empty-handed. Her performances had gone viral worldwide. She had gained millions of fans, and there was even news circulating of a record deal with Simon Cowell. When asked about where such a powerful voice came from, Courtney giggled shyly and admitted she didn't know. She explained that she just felt the music, and it came out the way it did. That contradiction, shy off stage, electric on stage, made her even more fascinating. At home in Hesleden, she was just a regular teenager living with her delivery driver dad, her mom, her siblings, and her dog Teddy, whom she missed dearly while in America. She confessed she was no different from her classmates, except that while they were streaming Ariana Grande or Ed Sheeran, she was digging through YouTube videos of James Brown, Janis Joplin, and Aretha Franklin. Her classmates loved pop. She gravitated toward soul. And though she sometimes joked that she was born in the wrong era, she also considered the possibility that maybe she was born at exactly the right time to bring that music back. And she wasn't bitter about not winning AGT. She said she was simply proud of what she had achieved, proud of making it into the top 10, and proud of the fact that the stage allowed her to just be me. She told Forbes that AGT had given her the chance to feel most herself, and her favorite part wasn't just the spotlight, but singing with a live band and connecting with the other contestants. Her story didn't stop with AGT Season 13, though. In 2019, she returned for America's Got Talent, The Champions, performing an original track, Pretty Little Thing. This time she didn't rely on covers of soul legends. She showed the world her own voice, her own writing, her own artistry. Even though she placed third, it marked a turning point. This was no longer about a kid channeling Janis Joplin. This was Courtney Hadwin carving out her own lane. So why did she take her chances on America's Got Talent instead of sticking with The Voice UK or even trying Britain's Got Talent? That question floated around a lot. Courtney explained that it was simple. A GT was the biggest stage in the world. It was where her idols came from, and if she wanted to prove herself, that was the place to do it. And while strangers might have been stunned by her reception, her family wasn't. Her grandfather once said that they always knew she'd do well in the US. insisting that Americans would get it in a way the UK didn't. They believed in her from the very beginning, and the arena's reaction was no surprise to them at all. Even without winning the $1 million prize, Courtney's career had already taken off. She booked live shows in Las Vegas with magician Shin Lim, drew standing ovations when she returned to the AGT stage at just 14, and earned the title of having the most viewed performance of season 13. And yet, through all of it, she remained the same Courtney. A teenager who loved her dog, missed home, and never stopped feeling a little shy in interviews. When asked if she thought too much about her career, she brushed it off and said she was just happy to keep singing the music she felt the most. But behind the bright lights and applause, life wasn't always kind. Fame didn't protect her from the sting of cruelty, and in many ways, it made her an even bigger target. And that's when the darker side of her journey began to creep in. The bullying back home. For many kids, the idea of stepping on stage, dazzling the judges, and becoming the next big star feels like a dream. But for Courtney Hadwin, that dream came with a side of reality that wasn't nearly as glamorous. Her time on The Voice UK. Kids should have been a stepping stone, something to celebrate. But instead, it exposed her to the crueler side of the spotlight. Courtney enjoyed performing and loved working with her coach Danny Jones. But not everyone was as supportive. Her peers weren't always kind, and some were quick to mock her singing and dancing. Even her grandfather admitted that online, strangers didn't hold back. People wrote that she wasn't a singer but just a shouter, tearing down a young girl who was only beginning to find her voice. And the negativity didn't stop there. After America's Got Talent put her name on an even bigger stage, the bullying only intensified. Much of it came from the safety of anonymous online profiles, but the harshest blows were the ones she faced in person at school. Courtney once shared that kids would laugh at her, call her names, and tell her she sang like a boy. She explained that people simply weren't used to someone singing the way she did. Still, she tried not to let it break her. Instead, she held on to the hope that those same kids who mocked her would be the ones sitting at home watching her shine. Her parents, however, couldn't ignore the toll it all might take. Her mother admitted that it scared her to see her daughter in the spotlight, but she also recognized that it wasn't her journey to live, it was Courtney's. If her daughter was brave enough to face the criticism, then she had no choice but to support her. Her father, on the other hand, reminded everyone that even the biggest names face hate. He pointed to Ed Sheeran as an example, saying that even he had to walk away from Twitter at one point because the negativity became too much to handle. Unfortunately, hate comes with the territory, especially in an age where people feel braver behind screens than they do face-to-face. But Courtney hasn't let it consume her. She's learned how to tune out the noise, refusing to give haters the power they crave. Her family, friends, and even her teachers stood firmly behind her, defending her character and reminding people that she has always been shy off stage. They also pointed out something many critics chose to ignore. Other contestants had prior experience in competitions too, but Courtney seemed to be the one unfairly singled out. In the end, what could have been the breaking point for many only proved just how resilient Courtney really is. And that resilience paid off. While the noise online tried to drown her out, the industry itself had already taken notice. Behind the curtain of negativity, doors of opportunity were quietly opening for Courtney. Courtney's record deal. Winning isn't always the only way to win. Courtney may not have walked away from America's Got Talent with the $1 million prize, but the truth is, she landed something just as big, a record deal. In December 2018, she signed with Simon Cowell's Psycho Entertainment and Arista Records, a move that put her in the same league as past AGT champions, minus the $5 million headline. By the following year, she released her first project, The Cover Sessions, a collection of reimagined versions of popular songs. From Harry Styles' Sign of the Times to Louis Capaldi's Someone You Loved, Courtney stamped her raspy, raw edge onto songs the world already knew, making them feel brand new again. Critics described her as an exceptional talent with a voice and spirit well beyond her years. And honestly, it was hard to disagree. When asked about the singers who shaped her sound, Courtney admitted that her influences stretched wide. She said her list included legends like Little Richard, James Brown, Janis Joplin, and Mick Jagger. And that was just scratching the surface. Big things were lined up for her, too. She was scheduled to perform at Woodstock 50, a reboot of the legendary festival on its anniversary year. But the event unraveled before it could even happen. No venue, money problems, and, eventually, total cancellation. And as if that weren't enough, the pandemic rolled in shortly after, wiping out live shows, album plans, and music festivals across the globe. For an artist like Courtney, who came alive in front of a crowd, it was a brutal pause. Still, she found ways to stay connected with fans. In November 2020, she released her own take on John Lennon's Happy Xmas, War is Over, uploading it to YouTube and streaming platforms. A year later, she was booked to perform at Austria's FM4 Frequency Festival in 2021. But once again, the event was cancelled. What's striking is how Courtney handled these setbacks. When Simon Cowell's Psycho label shut down, her path shifted. A fan once left a comment on her YouTube video referencing Simon, and Courtney herself replied, saying it was all her this time. Independent, free, and finally doing things her way. And that's exactly what she did. In February 2023, she dropped Breakable, her first independent single, a collaboration with producer Kevin Bowe. From there, it was like a creative floodgate opened. She released That Girl Don't Live Here in April, followed by Call Me Back in July, and then Monsters in September, a gritty, upbeat track about the mental battles we all wrestle with. Fans pointed out that even though the lyrics touched on stress and struggle, the vibe of the song was strangely uplifting. Billboard's own Xander Zellner even reported that Monsters broke onto the Hard Rock Digital Song Sales chart at number 19, proof that independence wasn't slowing her down. It was propelling her. By November 2023, she was back again, this time with a loud, unapologetically fun Christmas single titled Christmas Rocks. In 2024, she kept pushing forward, performing at Clive Davis's 41st New York Pops Gala, recording a full live session at Metropolis Studios, and dropping new music videos that showed off her range. Spellbound carried a pop-punk bite, while You Only Love Me When I Lie leaned heavy into blues. She even switched management teams, leaving MN2S when they couldn't secure her gigs, and moving under Oliver Mojita at Total Artist Management. Each move felt like a step toward carving out her own lane. And yet, behind the music, Courtney remained refreshingly human. When she appeared on Howie Mandel's podcast, Howie Does Stuff, in December 2021, she opened up about just how terrifying her AGT audition really was. Howie himself revealed that the producers told him she had been so nervous and stressed beforehand that she'd actually been sick. Courtney admitted that the nerves vanished the second she started singing. But still, it was a reminder that even the fiercest stage presence has a vulnerable side. When Howie pressed her about record labels, Courtney kept things close to the chest. She said she wasn't allowed to reveal much at the time, but promised she'd tell her followers first when the moment was right. What she did share, though, was her vision for her music going forward. She explained that she wanted to craft a sound influenced by Amy Winehouse, but still unique enough to be her own. Perhaps the most striking confession was about her older work. Courtney admitted that she hated listening back to her past projects, even her iconic AGT audition. She said it made her cringe, like hearing a version of herself she no longer related to. That honesty, raw, unfiltered, and vulnerable, is exactly what keeps fans hooked. She's not trying to be a pop star who pretends every moment is perfect. She's messy, evolving, and unapologetically herself. And that's exactly what makes her journey so fascinating. Simon Cowell in tears after hearing what happened to Courtney Hadwin. When Courtney Hadwin first stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage as a shy 14-year-old, Simon Cowell couldn't believe what he was seeing.
What's your name?
Courtney,
And how old are you?
13.
13.
He was so floored during her live quarterfinals that he told her not to listen to anyone, not even him. Normally, Simon was known for tweaking styles and giving that signature tough love advice. But in Courtney's case, he admitted his only advice was that she should do everything exactly the way she had just done it, because that raw, unfiltered magic was what made her incredible. Fast forward to 2025, and the same girl who once clutched the mic nervously under the AGT spotlight has blossomed into a force of her own. Courtney isn't just a contestant anymore. She's a dynamic, independent artist with her own voice and vision. She's no longer just the teenager who shocked the world with Janis Joplin-level magic. Now, she's writing, performing, and commanding stages with the kind of presence that only comes from growth, scars, and years of hard work. And that's exactly where Simon's tears come in. Watching the young girl he once warned to stay true to herself evolve into this powerhouse of an artist would hit anyone in the gut. But for Simon, who had seen thousands of hopefuls burn out, fade away, or compromise themselves, seeing Courtney hold on to her authenticity while building a career on her own terms was nothing short of emotional. Over the years, Courtney has carved her path without letting the industry chew her up. She's stacked up millions of followers across TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, and even collaborated with big names like Sam Fender and Steven Van Zandt of the E Street Band. Her track Monsters proved she wasn't just a one-hit TV wonder. It soared into the Billboard Hard Rock Digital Song Sales Top 20 and hit #1 on iTunes in countries like Australia and Sweden. The official video has already racked up more than 1 million views. And when she performed it live at London's legendary Metropolis Studios, she poured so much emotion into it that fans described the atmosphere as electric. Courtney herself reflected on the song with honesty, saying that Monsters was born from a time when songwriting was the only outlet she had while struggling personally. Being able to perform it, live in a space where so many of her idols had stood, felt surreal. And she admitted it was one of those full-circle moments that reminded her why she does this. Now, she's gearing up for the release of her debut album, Little Miss Jagged, on September 12, 2025. It's more than just an album. It's a statement. Courtney isn't boxing herself into one genre. The record weaves together rock, soul, funk, and pop, showing her range and her refusal to be pinned down. Early singles like Spellbound, DNA, and Die and Stay Pretty already hint at just how experimental and unapologetic the project is shaping up to be. And she isn't just hiding behind studio walls either. Courtney's been out performing live, including a sold-out headline show at London's Fiddler's Elbow. She's set to take her sound on the road in September 2025 with a UK tour that'll bring her to London, Birmingham, and Manchester. For fans who've followed her journey since that first shaky moment on AGT, these live shows are proof that she's grown into the artist she always hinted she could be. One of the most defining shifts in her career has been her independence. After parting ways with her old label, Courtney decided to steer her own ship. She's been working closely with producer Kevin Bowe, who is known for crafting sounds with legends like Etta James and Joe Cocker to create music that feels like her. On top of that, she's thriving on social media, where she connects directly with fans, giving them behind-the-scenes glimpses into her creative process. Life updates, and those unfiltered moments that remind everyone she's still that girl from County Durham who just happens to have a killer voice. As of 2023, her net worth was estimated around $1 million, a figure built not just on music sales, but also her performances and growing influence. But for Courtney, it was never just about the numbers. It's about building something lasting, something real. And that's why Simon Cowell's reaction makes sense. When he hears about what Courtney has become, the sold-out shows, the charting singles, the debut album, and most importantly, the fact that she never lost herself in the process, it's enough to move him to tears. Because in the world of talent shows and fleeting fame, Courtney Hadwin didn't just survive. She evolved, she owned it, and she's only just getting started. Were you a fan of Hadwin's performance in America's Got Talent? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.